Hi, after sharing my scalable model to apply and help students in business studies, I like to also bring in this concept of um, POA, which is actually an acronym for Principles of Accounting, and MOB, which is Management of Business. I'm going to bring them together. The link, I would say, I'll link it to accounting of financial records. Now, why do you need financial records? Financial records is not just sharing to the government so the government knows about whether there's due process of how the company is being run. Financial records, annual records, is a form of communication to the stakeholders. So let's assume that we're talking about stakeholders who are shareholders. So you have the annual report where you put in about how the company was being run. All right, despite the fact that it's historical, but how it's run and how the shareholders can actually uh, look at down the records and ask questions to the leadership. So it's a form of communication of, look, this is how we are doing, and we did this because we are going to do this. So it's a communication. So it's a communication between stakeholders, shareholders, and all that. So that's the link between POA and MOP. You start with annual report. Of course, you can go and use that for external and internal. So external is when the company communicates with shareholders. Internal is when you go to the topic of budgeting. Budgeting is when each department will ask for an allocation of resources and then they have to justify why. So after you talk to the external stakeholders, you also talk to the internal stakeholders. So these are the internal stakeholders. And there's marketing department, I mean the simplest marketing department, HR department, production department, um, and how they interact, right? So how how does the company in a perfect world, the company has so much resources, they don't have to fight. The financial resource they have is limitless sometimes, but how do you decide? So you can argue by saying that they decide by looking at the goals and visions of the company. Who sets the goal and vision? After the communication with all the various stakeholders, it's actually the leader. The leader will then set the goal and vision. So everybody will use that as a target. And then you have the thing called break-even point. Now the break-even point is linked to um, how much the production at the beginning and how much the marketing people can work together. Because if the production doesn't do well, there is no quality control and there's no zero defect, then when the marketing people actually get the end product, they're not able to sell properly. So I feel that budgeting, this topic of budgeting, which appears in both MOB and POA, they are linked together. They are linked because um, two different departments have to work together. The the marketing guys must know the constraints of the production guys, and the production guys, after hearing about the so-called requirements of the marketing people, have to produce within the stated time, and the marketing people must be able to communicate this product. So there must be very, very close production, right? Because the marketing people have no time to return back to production people, right? Then the leader and the manager must work together. Leader is visionary, communicates, and sets the direction, right? Just like the prime minister. But the HR manager knows every single employee within the company. So he knows about training requirements, he knows about targets, and of course he knows about whether or not it's time for that person to leave. So this is a further look into the topic of management business.